right. Well, welcome. We are on episode 8 of the Road Warrior podcast with Greg Rubendall. I'm here joined today by Mia Volpatti, legend of Livermore. Family has a staple within the community. And one of the things that I admire most about her is that she's from her community. She cares about her community. And this is uh, with the previous podcasts that I've done, I talked a lot about my family and what we've done in sport, and for our community. And I was talking with Mia, and I thought she would be a perfect person to come on for episode 8, which is just a different way of infinity. So if you just knock the 8 down on the side, we are infinite legends. She's the Livermore legend. I will not say which legend I am because I go everywhere. I'm the road warrior. But so thanks you for being here, Mia.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. All
All right.
right.
So, okay. Yeah. So quick little one. As I like to say all the time, it's been probably about 6 or 7 weeks since I've done a podcast. Uh, since then, I opened up a business on March 1. I had our opening at a place here in Midtown Sacramento called Sacrament Brewing, which has a gastropub and then a rooftop bar. So it's been pretty crazy on my end, and I haven't had the time to be able to interview someone. And to be honest, I was waiting for someone like Mia to be available
Thank you.
for us to have another conversation. So again, welcome. It's like you're like an echo of me,
Thank
right?
you.
So
Thank you.
when I think of, when I like to start off like why interview Mia? I think everybody in the community that she's in knows her, but I think it's important that a larger audience knows not just Mia, but what she stands for, who she is, and as a road warrior, the emphasis is on the warrior part, and I think she personifies that very, very well. Mia, just a quick one. I mean, in our conversations, we haven't known each other very long, so about a year. But Mia worked in the same soccer club as I did. She's a high school coach. She's a club coach, and really just a very good role model for young women. And it is that respect that I give you as a community leader, as somebody who fights for the females of your city, but also looking at it as someone who played in the club from the time they were first starting out on the recreational side all the way through to coach, playing and then coaching within the club. So I see that your path is very similar to mine in the fact that I started playing with my club and I never left. I was Diablo Valley through and through. My parents were staples in the community. My dad was, as we talked about, he wrote the bylaws for Diablo Valley Soccer Club in Concord. My mom was registrar and she did business in of the soccer club through our through our living room, and so that's why I'm speaking with you today, Mia, is because I see you as just an extension of what I believe is the best of sport, which is community development, community connection, and connection with the young people who are going to hopefully take over this world and do better than we currently are doing now with it. So Mia, tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe a little bit of your background and things like that.
All right. Well, I grew up in Fremont, California. So I actually started my soccer journey in Fremont. I played for the Tops, was one of my first travel soccer teams. And then when I reached fourth grade, we moved to Livermore. And then that's kind of when I transitioned over here from Fremont to Livermore. I loved it right away. When I was in fourth grade, I've been telling people recently, I just recently visited my former executive director, Troy Dyack. But I met him under the oak tree at Robertson Park, was able to see him right next to that oak tree, literally last week. So just being, I don't know, a part of this community for so long, it's cool to continue to see the people that have been a part of my journey still be a part of the people that I really want to inspire as well. So just it's awesome to see the people that I have entrusted still creating that trust within the people I want to create trust with. And But let's see, when I came to Livermore, right away I was super welcomed. Um, Everyone was super awesome. Let's see. Then we transitioned from Livermore to Fusion. You might have to remind me of like how that happened because I was a little new to it then. But honestly, it was awesome. I had a coach, Katie Pointer, throughout her 3 pregnancies. She still stayed, as a coach for us, which is something that I think is super awesome. I was pregnant 2.5 years ago, and I still stayed as a coach. And if I didn't see that within, my own time growing up as a middle school, high schooler, I may have not continued to coach throughout my pregnancy. So just seeing other women come before me and see that actually be something that I can do too is like, oh, wow, like, why would I not continue to coach during my pregnancy? So it's just little stuff like that. And she was my high school coach as well. So again, I had a lot of trust within her. She kept it close within the community. I also played so I actually did play for a few different clubs. So it was a little bit different from you. But I did play for Rage, which I was in 5th grade when I played originally for Rage. So actually I went Fremont to Rage to then Livermore. So my journey is a little all over the place. But Rage, my first coach was Walter Pratt. And then again, super small Livermore community, Tri-Valley. He ended up being my coach again in high school. So he remembered me from like braces, little tiny girl. And then he sees me again in high school and he's like, oh my gosh. So it's just like having that community. Like I trusted Walter since I was like 8 years old. So just having him again when I became 14, 15, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this guy's awesome. I already have the trust within him. So it's like that type of stuff just makes me want to come back and do the same for my community because he means a lot to me still. So that's just super awesome. His boys, when his wife was pregnant, when I was in 5th grade on his team, they're now seniors in high school at Granada. So it's just super weird, super awesome to see, even though it makes me feel super old now. It's just really cool to see the people in my community and their kids. And yeah, so that's the type of stuff that I really like within the community, and some of my adventures within youth soccer.
Yeah. Well, thank you. So yeah, Walter actually, for those who don't know, Walter actually lives in Livermore and he coaches in Pleasanton. And Pleasanton and Livermore are like buddy buddy. They are two of the oldest clubs, Ballistic United and Livermore Fusion or Livermore Youth Soccer League. Their original name was the Livermore Atomics because Livermore has all of the Lawrence Livermore and Sandia laboratories, and uh, um, the physics and all of the plans, the engineering happened in Livermore, and then it was given to the Lawrence Livermore labs in New Mexico, Los Alamos. For those who don't know, that's where they did all the atomic and hydrogen bomb testing. I know this because my grandfather worked for Lawrence Livermore Labs in New Mexico, so he was an engineer.
Nice.
So I do know that. So is Ballistic United and the Livermore
That's
Atomics, and
really,
this
yeah,
was in the
very
'70s.
interesting.
Yeah, so these are very old
Yeah,
clubs, and then Fremont is also one of those old world clubs. I think it was started even before Ballistic United and
yeah.
Livermore. That said, there was no women's sport
Wow.
at that time, so the Ballistic United is a men's team or boys club, and Livermore had a boys club, and women's teams didn't come on till later, right? So something that the history of sport, and obviously we've seen the success of the women's game in the United States, and what that has done for women. So yeah. So one of the other things just to discuss is that Livermore and Pleasanton are divided by a very large quarry. Now, for those who don't know what a quarry is, it's a place where you break rocks and then you turn them into cement, and then they go places to build stuff. And I remember when I was younger, there were actually parties in the quarry. I don't know how we got in. I don't know how dangerous it really was, but I was in the quarry. And as you go back and you talk about Troy Dyack, he probably doesn't remember me, but when I was 10 years old and my dad was coaching in his very first season at Ignacio Valley, we played Livermore High, and I was the
Nice.
ball boy for that game. 10 years old, chasing down balls, and Troy Dyack's Livermore beat my dad's Ignacio Valley Warriors. So the
Hey,
Cowboys beat the
listen up,
Warriors that
Troy.
time. But so, yeah, so my roots go deep within the Livermore
Hey,
community, and they don't even know it. So yeah. So okay. Well, here, this is what you're going to go. I'm going to give you some
all right.
rapid fire questions.
Um,
Okay, ready. Favorite female
Hope
soccer
Solo.
player? Why?
Because she took a good stand and she was able to battle a lot. I think on her own, and she still made it out. So she's yeah,
So steal the
yeah,
team van and go out.
yeah. Minus
So
the
that
domestic
part,
violence
right?
stuff, but I love her.
Yeah, but
Love her.
yeah. Oh no. Mine is my.
Always,
Hey,
yeah.
everybody
We're
makes a
all
mistake.
human.
So I
All
mean,
human.
you try and make
Love
up
Hope
for them.
Solo.
Yep, we're all
She's
human.
legit.
Uh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, and a
Mm-hmm.
Olympian, a gold medalist, a world champion, World Cup
Mm-hmm.
champion. Not too bad
Okay.
for me. Michelle Akers. Michelle Akers.
OG.
I love her. I love everything. OG, the '91 World Cup. I just
Nice.
watched the Men's World Cup in 1990, and then I saw the women win the World Cup in
Trailblazer.
'91.
For
And
sure.
yeah, like
Yes.
OG. Yes, there you go. Okay, ready number two. Okay, Bay FC or Oakland
Bay
Soul,
FC.
and why?
Honestly, I recently the San Ramon little girls just said we just went to a Bay FC game, so and they just had a super great fun time. So honestly, the fact that they just had such enthusiasm, they had a good time at the game. So Bay FC, man, sorry.
All right. Well,
There we go.
everybody makes mistakes. We just talked
Hey,
about this.
I honestly
Born
gotta
in
go to.
Oakland,
I've never been
so
to either game,
but
so I'm
I
still
am
maybe that's still up for debate.
I'm a season.
All right,
Hey, I'm a season ticket holder, so next game I will send you
today's my
tickets
birthday.
because what is today?
It's May Day.
No, today's May Day, and it's May Day, May Day, May Day. You have
I'm
not
a
been to an
hermit.
AFC game.
I
You're
have to be
going now.
forced out of
All
my
right,
house.
so tickets
I
for
have a
you.
child. Remember.
All right. So we had a tiny little technical difficulty. Apparently, Troy Dyack is listening in and trying to prevent us from talking about him. No, he tries. Troy's a legend, Hall of Famer, the part of the very first team. He was in the San Francisco Blackhawks, which is a team that was a pro team in between the end of the NASL and the beginning of the MLS. So ledge, total ledge. All right. So here we go. Rapid fire question number three. Are you ready?
Ready.
Where did you go to school and what did you study? And I'm going to give it even a follow up one on this one.
Okay.
What makes Southern Oregon the best school to go play for? Okay, ready,
All right.
go.
So the okay. Well, I went to Southern Oregon, so he answered the question there.
See,
But
I did that.
Southern
I,
Oregon, I went there for a little over 4 years, just because I needed to play an extra season for soccer. But I went there, and Southern Oregon, for those that do not know, is in Ashland, Oregon. So it's just right on the border of like California and Oregon. One thing I really liked was you see like all four true seasons. You will see the fall, the leaves turn colors, winter, spring, summer, everything. So super pretty town, super quaint, quiet, somewhat kind of like Livermore. Um, Weather is pretty much kind of like California, snows a little bit more. But Southern Oregon is an NAIA school, so me as a player, I kind of knew that I wasn't gonna be a D1 player. I just knew that that probably wasn't gonna be the arena that I find the most success in, which I am very, very happy that I did not go D1, because even in NAIA, I redshirted my first year, and that was really tough and kind of a humbling experience. I was number 32 on my freshman year roster, which was the last individual to commit my freshman year. So I got 0 minutes at all. There was about 9 of us that I think redshirted. So the amount of people that actually continued on in my class was less than the original 11 that came in, which honestly, it's fine. You know, if you find something else that you are more passionate about in college, totally fine. You can, but I just know that if you do complete 5 years of college soccer, I do. From a fifth year, I have a lot of respect for you because it took a lot for me to finish all 5 years. But I'm definitely glad that I did, um, because even the first 2 years I didn't play much, and I really honestly wanted to quit. Um, and I kind of battled with my coach for a bit. After I didn't play the second season, we had a winter meeting. And I remember my coach asking us, like, well, what should we have happen next season to like make us that much better? And during that meeting, I don't know what got into my head, but I just kind of said, like, maybe we should have better trust between players and coaches because not many people trust our coaches. And everyone was like, like, oh, Mia, what did you just say? So, Jenny Rosenberg, which I'm very still good friends with her today, she was like, Mia, I'm going to need you to stay after. I was like, okay, we're gonna need to talk.
Yeah.
So Jenny and
That
I
was the last
talked.
statement. Hey, that was the last statement on the team. Hey, at least I went out guns blazing.
Yeah, no. So honestly, I got a lot of texts that night, like, "Oh my God, Mia, you quit, you quit, you quit," because everybody assumed that me staying after in that meeting was me quitting. But I was like, no, I just needed to tell her how I was feeling because I was just so done, and a lot of people were feeling that way. And even Jenny after that was like, honestly, thank you for telling me because honestly, I'm not super great at telling people exactly what they need to do to be on the field. So like, genuinely, Mia, if you have these feelings, you just need to come to me. And honestly, I probably still didn't really come to her too much because I was just like, I just want to play. So with that, I just continued to work hard. If I didn't play, I went right to the gym and I just started running on the treadmill with anger. If my parents came to like say hi to me for games, I'd be like, nah, I'm going to the gym. You can ask my parents. They were like, oh, Mia, you are not really nice. I'd be like, not right to the gym. I need to go run because I didn't run tonight, you know? So I know that my coach saw that in me. And then the next year, my junior year, so this is my third year in college, I still did not start. It was preseason, and then at my UC Merced game, I ended up scoring a goal when I came off the bench. And then I scored another goal. And then after that game, I was on the bus ride going back home to Southern Oregon. Or actually, we were going to a next game, and my coach turned around to me and was like, hey, Mia, you're going to be starting next game with Kelsey up top. I was like, and then I never like let my gas off or foot off the gas pedal again. I was like, okay, I'm starting. Never will I not start again. And yeah, so that led me to my fifth year, which was the record-breaking year for Southern Oregon. We That was the first time ever that we had gone to the NAIA championship in Hattiesville, Mississippi. It was a
Every day.
great
I've been there.
time.
I've been there 3 times
Great
this year.
time. It was a great time. Um, Honestly, we won the first game. Super awesome. Second game, we scored first, but the team was really great. They were really great. A lot of different people from a lot of places around the world, and I was like, "What is this girl? What language is she speaking?" But it was a really good experience. Ended my college career with my college coach Jenny, uh, athletic director Bobby Hyken, assistant coach Lisa Elledge, a couple of my other friends on Bourbon Street. So it was great. My mom, my dad, we went out to Bourbon Street after we lost the game that day, and honestly, it was good time. Good time. So yeah, that was a little bit about my college journey. Um, but yeah, I think it was honestly not what Ashland and Southern Oregon had to offer, just more about like what Coach Jenny had to offer. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, this one is going to be a really tough one. So I want you to think about it pretty deeply.
Okay.
Okay. How many Shakespeare festivals did you go to in the 4.5 years you were there in Ashland?
Okay. I'm gonna say I went to none, but hold on. Southern Oregon, we ourselves have plays and whatnot. So, as a college student, you think that I can afford a Shakespeare play? No, I went to the free Southern Oregon Incredible Ones
So
free.
before they were going working in the Ashland Shakespeare Festival, you got to see them cut their
Boom.
craft. So you could have said, you know what, she or he is going to be a
Mm-hmm.
star, and I saw them when they were just a
Yep.
fledgling. And to be honest, that's the way I feel about you. I
Thank you.
think you're going to be a superstar, and that's why I was because you mentioned it. In leadership positions, and you can be in a leadership position at a lower tier and become a mouthpiece for the rest of the group. But we call it in the Coach Ed world radical candor, complete and total
Yeah.
honesty, where you can go two ways in your conversation. You're out of here, or thank you for finally telling me what I see and feel, but do not
Yeah.
know. And as somebody who's been in a position of responsibility, of clubs, of teams, of programs, you send out those surveys, and we get two types of surveys. Everything is great, everything is terrible. We don't really get, hey, everything is good, but maybe if you made these tweaks, it would be a lot
Yeah.
better. So, for anybody out there who fills out surveys and really thinks deeply about them, you are the most important people. Because when you go and you're thoughtful and you look at us and say, you're good, but not great, and here's where you can enhance, every year is different. The subjects are different. The player pools are different. The people you're working with, they could be the same people and they change year to year like the seasons do in Ashland, Oregon.
Exactly.
I think that's a really big piece. And I remember I went to the Shakespeare Festival my sophomore year of college. I went with my artist girlfriend at the time, and we slept in the back of my
There you go.
SUV. No, actually, it was my truck. We like slept under the stars and went to the Shakespeare Festival and dressed up, and that's when I learned about iambic
Okay.
pentameter and that I don't know enough about Shakespearean English. So I studied
Okay.
it for 3.5 minutes and realized I don't
Yeah.
care.
No, I don't
I
understand
don't
it,
care about Shakespearean
but
English. But I mean, I learned a
yeah.
lot. Uh, okay, last quick fire
Okay.
question. Right? I really want you on your
All
toes
right.
here. Your city, and you can name it, but what is the name of the city and what is your city mascot if it's a city make of all women and you are the emperor slash queen slash leader of this group? What is your city's name and your mascot?
Okay. I just what is it? I see myself within the, is it fictional? Is like real, right? Fictional. I wasn't.
Fictional, non-fiction, non-fiction, real fiction, not so
Okay,
real. So this is
nonfiction.
a not so real.
Nonfiction. I wasn't an English major.
Got
Sorry.
it.
Sorry, Miss Watson. Granada High School. So sorry.
Yeah,
Beth
communication
Beth
really good. Hey,
Dutton.
communication good. Writing not
Okay,
so much.
I'll show you a little punk. Hold on. This is
Yes, it's really important in the Road Warrior podcast to have props, right? Beth Dutton, the
Yes.
bobblehead. What is
Uh
that?
well, this is who I just love her as a character. I think she just embodies it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yellowstone. She's a bit abrasive,
And
I
these
would
are all
say.
the Livermore characters.
There you
But
go. Hey, for those who don't know, Livermore has the shortest rodeo in the world. They have a giant. They have a 100-year rental agreement with the city to run the fastest rodeo in the world. So, and they're the. Are you Livermore or Granada?
okay, well, here's the thing. Okay, I was an East Avenue girl, which meant I was supposed to go to Livermore, but I picked Granada because
Okay.
the sports were better.
Yeah. Well, Livermore was more of a Americanized sport, male dominated school from my experience, whereas Granada was a little bit more feminine centric and a newer school in a growing I mean it was a town. Like Livermore was literally the two mascots are the Cowboys and the Matadors. So you can't get more we have cows than that. So so we'll go into this. Tell me about Leisure Street Winery.
All right, Leisure Street Winery um became more of a thing when I got my
What
license.
is it? No, what
Oh,
is it? No, nobody knows what Leisure Street is.
okay.
Tell us what is
All
Leisure
right. Well,
Street?
Leisure Street Winery was a winery that was started on Leisure Street. So that's why it's called Leisure Street. It is now on Tesla Road, so 8953 Tesla Road, Leisure Street.
Good plug. Good plug, by the way. Very good
Um,
plug.
we are a family owned business. We started in 2016, so just the year after I graduated high school. My parents always say that basically once I got my license is once they were able to start the wine industry because they didn't have to take me to practice anymore. So they had time for themselves. So I was having to drive to Pleasanton because I was on Pleasanton Rage, ECNL. Um, but they didn't want to drive me there anymore, so they just started making wine at Three Steves. So the Three Steves helped my parents start to make wine. Um,
Which, by the way, my sister is
there
a
we go.
member of. She
Great
lives.
winery.
Did you know my sister lives? Did you know my sister lives in
I do.
Livermore? She, yeah, she's just north of on Vasco, just
There we
north
go.
of the freeway.
There we go.
She's Springtown
Hey,
folk.
we
She's
like the
Springtown folk.
Springtown folk. I got a lot of friends over there.
There you go.
But yeah, no, they
But
started making wine then. I always tell the story when I was in fifth grade, we had a pretty good earthquake in Livermore. And I really understood my mom's love for wine when, like, my brother and I dropped and we did, like, earthquake, drop and cover. Mom, Dad, like, come on. My mom's like, Rick, get the bottles off the walls. Like, just make sure they're not gonna break. I was like, Mom, like, get to safety. Don't worry about the wine. So my mom,
I mean, but theoretically, if the wine bottles fell and broke while you and your brother are on the ground, you guys could have gotten cut
true,
pretty
true.
bad. So maybe they were saving you from being cut up, and they were saving some people coming to Livermore from being
That's true.
not drunk.
True.
So
Yeah.
she helped them,
No, my
continue
mom,
their
yeah.
because it's a high stress. Livermore is a high stress city. For those who don't know, most PhDs per
Oh,
capita
that's
in the
true.
world. That means everybody you run into is smarter than you in the thing that they know. So they sometimes try to apply that to things that they are not PhDs in, and I like to point that out that knowledge PhD does not necessarily transfer over. And funny enough, Mia, I didn't even realize you are my
Thank you.
spirit animal because with a kinesiology and not PE, we're not calling
I
it PE anymore. It's an academic discipline. So kinesiology and a
Yes.
minor in business. That is the biggest regret I have in my life is not getting a
Oh, my
minor in
biggest regret is
business
not getting a
because
major in
I
business.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just would like to know, like, now as I'm older, I know how money works and bank accounts work and that banking works and all these things. And I learned by accident because I was looking at people who are not as successful or talented as I was get very, very rich. And I said, "Here's a book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. What does it say? Let's
Yeah,
read through this." So yeah. Anyway, so Leisure Street, I know it's a family owned and operated. It's one of the
we're
smaller
small.
ones,
Yeah.
um, and I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, when I went on my Kicks and Sips
Yeah,
podcast, Leisure Street was one of the wines I brought.
it
Is that
was.
not
We
true?
do specialize in
Yeah.
a lot of like Italian varietals. So I grew up thinking I was more Italian than I am, which, hey, I love my
Yeah.
Italian roots, but 23andMe says I'm more Portuguese actually. So I don't know what I am.
That's okay. Yeah. Well, the Italians, the Portuguese, and the Spanish did a lot of exploring in the 14, 15,
Well,
16,
here I am. I'm a
1700s.
mutt of them
So,
all, and my mom is everything European. So
yeah. You know what? You just have an
there we go.
explorer's history. I mean, you are a road warrior in and
Yes,
of
I'm just
yourself,
the
and you
I'm
don't
I'm
even
just
know
the
it.
homebody, but I have the spirit of a road warrior. You know.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Well, uh,
Okay.
let's move on because we've talked a lot about you
Okay.
as a person, things you like
Okay.
so not so much. But just tell me about that transition from being a player to moving into
Okay.
coaching. And I believe you started coaching in high school first. And it probably was maybe what, 2 or 3 years of me begging you to start coaching at Livermore that you actually
More.
did that. Do you remember
Yes.
these
Yeah.
things? It was
Yeah.
longer
It
than
was
that,
it was
wasn't it?
long. So I started. I actually.
The
I
children
know.
have
I'm
suffered. The children
sorry,
have
girls.
suffered
I know.
because of
I
your.
should have. I should have dived in quicker. But here it is.
That's okay. You were only 24. You were
Yeah,
only
that's true. I
25.
did
You
have
were
a
young.
child too, so I had to figure that mother thing out. But when I graduated college, it was December of 2019. So I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I get to move home, get to explore more. I'm 21 now. I get to go out. COVID. I was like, oh, whoa, all right. Well, can't do anything here. No college graduation. I got a virtual one, which was super cool. But I came home and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know what to do. The world was like shut down. So I started to become a nanny, which was super awesome. Shout out to the Chenards. Chloe and Connor, they were the two kids that I nannied for. And again, super weird connection. I worked at LARPD, which is Livermore Area Recreation Parks District, um, from
Correct.
14 to 20, like 23. So the amount of kids that I saw like through sports camp and stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know all these kids around Livermore. And ended up uh, being a nanny for two of the kids that I met at sports camp. I entered their house and I'm like, wait, I know these guys. And so their parents were like, oh my gosh, she's familiar with them already. Boom. Job happened right there. So again, it's an important part to just be a member and a familiar face to your community. But after that, I just needed a little bit of extra money, and a coach, Tessie Wagner Pease. She also coaches at Ballistic. She was coaching at Granada as the varsity coach, and she was like, "We really need a freshman coach." So me and one of my former Rage teammates, we co-head coached the freshman team together that year, which was super super fun. Was my first year of coaching, so I was just like, let's have fun. And it was fun. All the girls said it was an awesome time. So I was like, well, I must be doing something right. So I came back for another year. I actually ended up finding out I was pregnant. And I was like, oh my goodness, Dad, you might have to help me out to like complete this season. So my dad stepped up and he helped me, which honestly, I think I probably started coaching maybe because of my dad. My dad coached All of my siblings growing up, he coached softball, he coached baseball, he coached football. He's a coach. He originally coached in Fremont for Mission San Jose,
Yeah.
as well as Washington High School, and then little leagues all in between. So I've just been grown up on the fields and being along with dad.
That,
So
that that is a Livermore type thing. Everybody
yeah,
plays all different sports. It's pretty fascinating, and everybody is a professional coach because they coach at a recreational level. So it's very interesting to have parents who have a
yeah,
coach's eye and how a soccer club works with people of the community who coach. They've coached the players and kids, and they have a knowledge set that I don't think it's
yeah,
leveraged enough. I think that's one of the biggest problems with club sports across the board. And I'm not going to say any particular club sport, but because of the shift from physical education into privatized club sport after school, I think us as coaches think that we know more. And the reality is, the most important thing is the kids of the community, who they are, what their experiences are, what their community is. So Livermore has a lot of different types of pockets that are different socioeconomic pockets, ethnic pockets, diversity pockets. And so you need to know and understand because when they come to a soccer club, they're from all these different neighborhoods. And it's not that easy to just stitch them together, especially when they are the Montagues and the Capulets, because Granada and Livermore, like they are at war from a
mm-hmm.
very young age. The football games are like you might as well bring a mop for the blood that is spilled
Yeah,
on that football field because that's the classic,
yeah,
in town classico. And every sport when those two teams play, there's not a third one. And the only team that ever wins that is the referees. They're the only ones who walks away a little bit unbloodied, but maybe their
yeah.
eardrum is popped out because they made a bad call or something. So, very, very fascinating. Being from from Concord, we had 5 or 6 high schools. Let me think. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. We had 8 or 9 high schools that
Yeah.
we had in town, right? In Mount Diablo Unified. So we didn't. The only arch nemesis we had, De La Salle and Carondelet, and they were
Well,
everybody's like bad guy. But their school
oh, okay.
touched our school. The only thing separated was a
Yeah.
canal.
Man,
So
that's pretty close to a private
yeah, it was a
private
tough.
school.
Warriors versus Spartans. Yeah,
No, for sure.
Warriors versus Spartans. And my dad, when he was coaching there, called it the Canal Cup. So we had an actual trophy that we brought out, and it sat between the two benches. And we played them twice, but whoever won the
Nice.
game got the cup. And then we added it in, and it was a really fun way to
Yeah.
have something that was a rivalry, have another meeting. And he did that because he went to Cal, and Cal and
Oh, yeah.
Stanford, they
Yep.
fight over the axe.
I
Yeah,
think
the
Livermore and
axes
Granada
thing,
maybe
and
do that, right? Maybe. Like, I think they have some type of
I'm
trophy
sure they do something.
for
A
football.
lot of places. Yeah, I think a lot of places do that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got to do it for everything. Civic responsibility.
Yeah.
The East versus the West, the North versus the South, the socias versus the greasers. I mean, it goes.
Yeah.
It's the tale as old as time, right? So, but yeah, that's so looking at that, as you're going in and you've had this success, you start going into club coaching, and it's always difficult, when you're in a club and new leadership comes in, right? And then you become at the crossroads as a homegrown, playing talent, coaching talent, and maybe new people to the environment are trying to figure it out. What advice can you give to new coaches, new directors, new board members, new people who are coming into this environment from your perspective as a, player, coach, high school coach? What recommendation would you give to people coming in for like some advice? What would you do? I just moved. I haven't ever been there. I just moved into Livermore, and I say, who's the most important person in the club in the city? And everybody says, go talk to Mia at Leisure Street. So, what is the advice that
All
you give
right.
me?
Well, Actually, this kind of goes right into the year after me and my dad started coaching. After that, I knew that I really couldn't take a freshman team on again by myself. I have a new baby, so I'm like, can I please try and be an assistant on varsity just to like, still be involved? Like, I need to get out of my four walls in my house to like get some interaction and still be a part of something to like feel something. And Tessie was my coach, or she was the coach that I originally coached with. She had been there for a while, so I just think that honestly there was a change that needed to be made. But I do really respect Tessie because there was one thing that she did say. She was like, "Yeah, you know something, like you might be kind of young, but just know that you got this coaching thing." And I'm like, really? Like, thank you. So her saying that was super awesome to me. Like, that's my mentor. But the next year, I hear there was a new coach that came in, and this is Coach Gio Monroe. And I'm like, oh, who's this guy? I do my Googling, like, I was just, you can ask my fiance. I was like, man, I don't know if I want to come back. Like, sometimes male coaches, even if I know some things, they're gonna try and tell me that I don't. Um, which
Hmm.
honestly, when I first sat down with Gio, we sat down at Panama Red Coffee, so right across the street from the ale house. I don't know how much more Livermore coffee you can get than that. But that initial meeting with Gio, man, I walked away and I was like, oh my God, I'm coming back. Like, dude, this guy's awesome. And the first couple weeks that I knew Gio, I remember asking him, like, Gio, how many sisters do you have? He was like, why? I'm an only child, Mia. I was like, what? Like, what? He, like, what? I honestly, him as a male, truthfully, male coaches, sometimes females do know what they're doing. Just putting that out there, all right? Um, Gio genuinely, I would say, is one of the first male coaches. He's super responsible, super on the ball, that also respects my opinion, which is just like,
Yeah.
like,
So,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Quick question for you: who has two thumbs and brought Geo Monroe to Livermore?
Good job, Greg.
This guy right here. This guy right here. And I saw his first training session, high energy, really engaged, sometimes is a little bit too unsure of himself,
Yeah.
but he has a beautiful heart. He has the
Oh, me
tallest
and her
wife I
standing
would
next to
ever
each other,
see.
I have to go like,
And so she's taller,
but but
taller than
she
he is, and
she's
he's tall.
amazing. And the thing is, he is always on the move.
Yeah.
So who is holding the house down? Martina Monroe. So shout out to Martina. Shout out to
Yeah.
Martina.
She's got it
She's
locked.
awesome. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Not, you don't meet
no,
a lot of
no,
Czechoslovakian
she's Czech.
people, and she's Czech. And I would say she's probably the perfect for Geo.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Checkmate.
Gio texted me.
Oh,
Sorry,
pun
side note. He
pun
was
it up.
like, where's my birthday invitation? I said, I texted your wife because we know that we're in charge of the calendar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she makes
So
the schedule. She makes the
So
schedule.
yeah, no, no, no.
She makes the
So
gap
so
happen. When is your
it's on
birthday?
Sunday. If you
When
want
is
to
your
come
birthday
here,
party?
I told you. I already told you.
Well, I see that
Duh.
backhanded
Hey,
invitation. You know what? I'm busy. I'm busy.
whatever.
I have socks to
But
fold.
anywho,
Uh,
Geo,
yeah,
honestly,
yeah,
in the past, I would say like even if I know what I'm doing well, men will come up and be like, so like, and then they just kind of talk down to you, which is not a nice feeling. A reason why genuinely I was like, I don't know if I want to come back with all these new male coaches. Like, I just know that I'm gonna have to like claw my way up with respect again, which sucks. Which was
yeah,
not the case.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, well, if you look at it, and one
yeah.
of the things I'm really good at is math. And so if I do some math, and I'm going to do girl math, 29 minus 14
You
is
do that for
what?
me, because there you go. Boom.
15. So if
Yeah.
you started coaching at 14 and 15 is the number of years that you've been in charge with children and had your own child, you realize you have coached
That's true.
longer than you
Yeah.
have not coached. So I throw it down there. I'm 47, right? So to be a Mia, I would have to have coached 24 years, one
Okay.
year more than half of my age. I've coached for 32 years. So I started at 15. So when you get my age, you will have coached longer than I would have
Yeah.
coached at the exact same time if you stay with it. So I'm just saying, I'm not trying to plan my own demise, but I really just hope that 2 decades from now, that there are leaders like you in positions of power, and responsibility and accountability for not just the female game but the male game, because you've already explained it. Like you, when somebody needs to hear something that they don't want to hear,
Yeah.
you're not afraid to say it. And I think that's a characteristic. There's a way to do it as well. So let's not be beat around the bush and say
Yeah.
you can just be blunt and cruel. But if you go and you say, hey, look, I made some observations, I got some notes, there's a couple things that are maybe in your blind spot, you're maybe a little tunnel visioned, how about we pull
Hmm.
it back a little bit and look at the bigger picture? And a lot of people, they get so focused on what they need to do, what they think they need to do, and how they need to change things. Change is slow and eventual. It always changes. Any fast changes lead to your
Yeah.
demise because it's just too fast. People can't adjust. I can't just go from Coke to Pepsi.
Yeah.
I have to wean myself off of Coke and move into Pepsi,
Yeah.
right? I can't just make that shock, right? And I have to get maybe it's every 10 Cokes to one Pepsi, and then I just shift it
Yeah.
down and I find that perfect balance. And that is a terrible analogy because Coke nor Pepsi give me any
There
money
you
to
go.
say that. So
Product
I'm
placement
cutting this part out.
removed.
Okay. Exactly.
Yeah. There we go.
Adidas to Nike, right?
Okay. There
Well,
we go.
actually, I'm Capelli. I'm the dark horse. Yeah,
There we go.
there you go. So shout out to Capelli, my people, help me out. Yeah, I mean, this we gotta end it sometime. So this is probably the one, couple of
Okay.
questions I'm really interested in your answer. Okay,
Okay.
so we have this birth year changeover. We have what do you call them? Angel investors, hedge funds, people investing and buying youth nonprofit clubs to make them not profitable so that they can
Hmm.
have these super portfolios, right? Is this
No.
a good thing? Yes or no? Okay, why not? In like less
Clubs
than a minute.
should be something that the community can be proud of, not something that individual parents can be proud of.
Yes. So and I would say caretaking at a really important level, and that every time you need always a succession plan where the older teach the younger to
Yeah.
take over, and the people are through that system. I think that's imperative. Um, so looking at this Northern California landscape with all these clubs and everybody trying to in a nuclear arms race to have the ECNL, the GA, the N1, the blah diddy blue diddy blah blah. Yes or no? Can soccer be saved in Northern California, and maybe specifically talking about Livermore? Can it be saved? Like, are we at a point of no return where hedge funds and angel investors and big money come in and start taking money directly from parents and turning it into a business? Can we right the ship? I mean, you
Um,
see it happening. What do you think?
Genuinely, I have done, I would say, everything in my power, in my voice, to do whatever I can. But at the end of the day, the people that fund um, these nonprofits are the parents. So the parents, if the parents are mad and they
Yeah,
don't like what's happening, that they have to start saying something. Because
yeah. Well, well, as a parent, you've got a fiance. As a parent, what is the most important thing to
trust.
establish when you
Mhm.
have a relationship? Trust
Yeah.
and transparent communication, right? So that means sometimes telling the
Yeah.
people that we've broken a lot of eggs. We see that, we know that. We're learning how to make omelets, and we're learning
Yeah.
also how to teach chickens to make more eggs. So it's not that it's inescapable, but as soon as we start making mistakes, we start focusing on the mistakes and not
I
knowing
think,
that the chickens are still laying eggs. And
yeah.
we have
I
to be
think
cognizant of
another
this.
thing too is like you said, like admitting or like saying we've broken a lot of eggs instead of, you know, saying no, we haven't broken them. You know, it's like everybody is seeing that these eggs are broken. We just admit that the broken eggs are there and like let's just see what we can do from there.
And
Yeah.
and and then
Yeah.
go buy a cookbook on amazing omelets and eggs of specialty. Like
Yeah.
figure out once you've made a mistake, how are you going to fix it, and then how are you going to
Yeah.
prevent something like that in the future. That's very difficult because you have to look into the future, deal with the present, understand the past, and figure
Yeah.
out like looking at the spectrum nonstop. Because some people are frozen in the past, some people are ambitious for the future,
Yeah.
but you're dealing with the fire of today, right? And I look at this in Northern California, but also in the American global society, right? Any group of people that look and say, I want it like it was, are not the type of people you
Yeah.
want, because it can never be the way it was. It already was. Even if it was 100% the same, it would be 100% modernized technology, all this stuff. So you're
Yeah.
living in the past. It's not going to work. I'm sorry, it's not going to work. Figure out how the future
Yeah.
can be written by the present that is now. So that's my basic statement philosophy on how to run organizations, is that I always want to look, what does it look like in 10 years, and then backwards plan, so that in a year from now, are we headed towards that direction? Did that target move, and are we going in another direction a little bit?
Yeah.
Those are the things I look for. um, and then again, this is like really just my the the
Yes.
mystical, fantastic Greg. If you had magical powers, what would you do to move us? And I talk about the collective us in sport, in communities. Like you have a magic wand, everybody goes to bed and they magically do this thing tomorrow. What is it? It's a birthday wish. You blow out, you're thinking about it, and then you blow out your birthday candle.
Okay, I
What
have
does tomorrow
two
look like for you? Everybody
things.
does X.
Um, oh, okay, okay, okay.
No, you only have
All
one
right.
wish. I'm not a genie. You get one wish.
That our soccer shifts to a perspective that's more like England, that um, the community wants the club to succeed, not like parents want their child to succeed. If that makes sense.
Got it.
I think so.
Is it
I think
like
it's a little
is
bit
that
more
is it
like that.
like that in
Everybody has
England?
like more. No.
No. No. Come on. The English are the ones that we beat almost 250 years ago. They're still trying to slowly invade our system through soccer. But I do say that I think there's something that is a common thread, is that every club has a history. And this is why I started with this, is every club, Livermore Youth Soccer League has a history. Ballistic United Soccer Club has a history. Pleasanton Rage Soccer Club
Hmm.
has a history. You need to understand that history,
Yeah.
where they were, to know where they need to go. You have to understand that, because those are the people who have guided the
Yeah.
experience. And you see it now as it is, not understand how it was. And I think the rich history of international, I wouldn't go just England, international sporting clubs is really important, because most clubs are cultural centers. They serve the culture, the ethnicity of the city. So Livermore
Yeah.
Atomics, it tells you exactly
Yeah.
what they were doing, and that's important. And when you go into other clubs and communities, they tell you who they were. Sonoma State was the Cossacks, and the Cossacks are like Russian pirates, and that was the name of their university, the Cossacks. So, and go up there, there's Russian River Brewing.
Yeah.
You have the Russian River, like it was Russian.
Okay.
So very, very important.
Okay.
So
I
let's
have a
not be like
better.
England, but let's maybe think about how can we American American history and follow the path of that rich
Um,
diversity as a younger nation.
okay,
So
I
I
will
agree,
say,
but I don't think we're going deep enough.
um,
So, but now, but
within
that's my opinion.
NorCal, and I would just say soccer everywhere, um, those in higher positions need to just be those that care about the development of all individuals, not just top teams, and just willing to admit when they're wrong. I think that's okay.
Yeah. How about this? As a club director, everybody always asks
Do
me
you
like,
have
"Oh, do
dogs?
you have any
Two
kids?
dogs?
Do you know? Do I have any children?" I have two dogs. So when anybody asks me that question, I already know the answer because it's the number of children in the community that I serve. So this year, 13,312, 17,213. It does not matter if they come to my club. My job is to make sure that the environment they have as a youth creates a
Yeah,
culture and a supportive environment regardless of what they do
yeah,
with their youth. I'm working for all of them. And I think if more people look at that as their bigger picture, that even like they should be going to Lamaze classes and saying, hey, parents, who's kicking right now? Who's punching? All right. So we've got a Taibo. All right. We got a kickboxer. We
yeah,
got a soccer player. That one looks like maybe he's going to be a kicker for the NFL.
yeah,
Like you have to know because parents don't know.
yeah. I
Most parents are just
I
trying to
will
figure it
say
out on the
too,
fly.
especially
So
in the
you need to
community,
connect with
like
them
working
early.
with those at Granada, something that I knew within my own playing experience was like I wasn't always the best individual on the team, and sometimes I felt a little bit invisible. So even those that get like 1 minute, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, like even the minimalist minutes, if I can see that they're like doubting themselves at all, I make sure like don't like that soccer is not your identity. It's just like something you do. So I just want not just the girls, but boys too. Like
Yeah.
I mean, even if soccer's not something that is going to be your end game in your career and your use it for something that you can just be successful with later on. Like if you continue to show up, that's you continuing to show up in your future job one day, or you not quitting, that's you not quitting in your job. So yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you a stat, and it's about this. So how long is it between when a team wins possession of the ball and
13
scores
seconds.
in youth soccer? At maybe let's call it U13
Okay.
and below. How long? Okay, it's about 7 seconds. So even if you only played a minute, there's potentially
Yeah.
up to seven opportunities within that minute to make the difference for your team. And I want everybody to think about that.
Yeah.
It's not about the number of minutes, it's about the quality of the minute you spend. And that is with everything you do. So comes from my favorite poem, if you can run hard for 1 minute and 1 minute is your limit, you can make a
Hmm.
difference. Don't look at it as I only got, look at it as I get to have. And if you change your perspective on that, when you're on the bench and the coach calls you over, or you're the one who's hyping somebody up who's
Yeah.
looking down and they're feeling frustrated, that's your job as a teammate. That's your job as a coach. That's your job as a fan, right? Because there's always next game, there's always next year.
Yeah.
It never ever ends. There's walking soccer now. For 80-year-olds, just octogenarians are playing walking soccer
Hey,
where it's literally
we need
against
it
the
in
rules to
all the
do more
homes.
than a
Let's go.
walk. It's against the rules. Perfect.
Wait, wish for what?
Exactly. All right, last one. I got to follow up. You said two. What's this other one?
Oh, the other one was
Yeah, you said
those
if
have
I had
taught me
magical
to
powers,
admit
I
when
have
they're
two.
wrong, because we
You
just
gave
need to
me
have a
one.
little
What
bit
was the
more
other one?
humility. That's all. That the other one was England. I honestly was talking to one of the new coworkers, and that's what he was explaining. The clubs was like in England, or were like in England. It's a little bit more like community based, which I was like, that's awesome, because sometimes we do see players that may not have as much money,
Yeah.
and that's not fair. That just because they don't have enough money, they can't play at the ECNL level. It's like you're missing out on so many players. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I like it's I'll bring it back to why I say the Oakland Soul slash Roots,
Nope.
and we had a
Stay
collaboration with
rooted.
them, USL Academy. Do you know what their slogan is?
Okay. Ooh,
Okay, one of my
that's
favorite
Eduardo's
players
name.
slash new coaches was named
Lalo. That's
Eduardo
correct.
Lopez. His nickname, Lalo. Hey, Livermore. Hey,
Mm.
Livermore only, Livermore always, or Livermore always, Livermore only. Lalo, this is a shout out to you, brother. That when we go, is that it's your community first and your community always. It's Oakland first, Oakland always. So they look and take care of their people. One of my high school players was one of their
Right.
very first superstars, Max Ornstill. He has a new business in Oakland called Neighborhood Soccer Club. And it's now a cafe with a little mini pitch. So I'm challenging you, every community who's listening to this, build yourself a neighborhood soccer club. Build it for the children who can't afford, but you can create a little community, and from that little community it will
Absolutely.
grow bigger and bigger, because if you don't have community, you don't have anything, because it takes a village. So understand that. This is Mia Volpatti. I said, the hottest ticket in town. The most important conversation that I needed to have, because I needed to look back at when I was young and I was 29. What did I look like? I had about that length of hair, right? I had just graduated and I was working through the system. But I can say, Mia, if whatever
Thank you.
you want to do, set your sights on, you're taking over the world, and I got your back.
I
When
might
I'm
need
old
a
and gray,
van.
I will hand you the keys to the Ferrari.
Transporting.
But you're gonna have to learn how to drive stick shift and
Boom.
really really fast.
PJ.
Probably,
Private jet.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, you know what?
Thank
We'll have
you.
a fleet of airplanes. How about that? We'll have G6, whole bunch of G6. All right. Okay. So thank you, Mia. Obviously awesome. Very sad to see that
We
Italy
do.
isn't in the World Cup, but don't worry about it. They're Italian. They've gotten over these
Mm-hmm.
things. They still have the Pope to hang out with, and you know what? They're not going to not
No,
watch
I've
soccer.
seen a
They're
win by
just going to be
Italy
a little
before
bitter
when I
and
was
up
younger.
and
It's okay.
upset. But you know what? They've won what, 3 World Cups. So what are they so
Yeah.
mad about? Like
Yeah. Have you ever been to Lake Como? It's amazing.
stop being
Think
so
about Lake.
hard on everybody. Italy, you're Italy, man. You're a boot. Stop kicking your own people.
Okay.
So, all right. Yeah, never been. I've been to
Okay.
I've been to Venice for about
Okay.
3.5 minutes because it was so hot and
Hey,
crowded.
shout out
I
to the
told my brother, let's
Netherlands.
get on the
Love that
boat, and we
country.
went over to
Beautiful.
Croatia, to Pula. Fantastic.
All right.
I Croatia all day long.
All
Venice, not my
right.
cup of tea. Yeah, right, there you go. Well, my next big trip is to Brazil. Brazil, and I would say, let's go.
Mm,
Prediction of the men's World Cup: who takes it? Because Italy can't win, so
Germany.
who takes it? It's not
Well,
even a question right now.
I don't
I
know.
mean,
France has
honestly,
Brazil
it's
in the
it's like
front,
shooting fish in a barrel. No, it's got to at France. France could put in three
but
teams,
France has
and any
Brigitte
one of them could win
Macron.
the World Cup. That's how deep they are. Yeah, they have Moroccan, Algerian, like they're so diverse right now.
Hopefully, it's not Brigitte
It's just
Macron.
unfair.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Well,
Honestly,
who is in
there's
charge? Doesn't matter
a
his name.
kid.
Do you
His
know what
name
my
is
dog's name
Killian.
is, Mia? Kylian Mbappe. No, Kylian Mbappe, right? And he's
Oh,
there's nobody
yeah, that's
angrier.
right.
Yeah, there's nobody angrier in the world and wants a World Cup more than the guy who got this close last time and has a bone to pick. So I'm going like, hey, Killian, I'm on your side. I'm U.S. through and through, but I was also on the Champs Elysees in 1998 when France won. Zinedine Zidane, Didier Deschamps, all the other legends of
Not with the
France. Like
men.
I was
Yeah,
there,
the
and
women.
I want you to win.
Exactly.
I would love the U.S. to win, but I'm realistic. They have to be the best of 48 teams, and
The
that's
girls always do.
extremely difficult. They don't have a track record of doing that. So, but hey, guys, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I think I think they can. They're gonna make some noise.
But the
So buy
girls
your
is always
tickets,
there.
make some noise. Now, the tidal wave, the tsunami of men's soccer in
Yeah,
America is coming. Guys, let's be
yeah.
patient.
No,
Let's
men
stop
can get
hating
the
on the
U.S.
men's
national
national
team one day.
team. Let's throw our weight.
Woosha.
Yeah, and
All
hopefully
right.
we have all
You
the
too.
female support to say,
Thank
you know what,
you.
you too can be like
I
us.
wouldn't. First
All
day of
right. Hey,
WPSL. Let's
woosa,
go.
woosa. All
Bye.
right, woosa. All right. Hey, take care, Mia. Enjoy your birthday.